Yes. So, Assalamu alaikum, and I welcome all the leaders, educational leaders, and esteemed teachers. So, today we have second session for school improvement planning. Last time we were just talking in general what exactly is the school improvement planning and why it is important. Today we'll go deep into school improvement planning and we'll discuss how the UAE inspection framework it is related to school inspection and how they evaluate different standards of for the school inspection. So the basic standard which we are going to discuss and which is really very important standard for any inspection which is happening within UAE especially and out of the context if there are some international accreditation agencies like Cognia, they are doing their inspections. So these are most of the things which are related to them also. So before I start, I hope majority of us we belong to UAE and some of our friends they are belonging to different other countries they have joined in. So if you can just share your country, your state, whether you are from Ajman, Dubai, Sharjah, or Abu Dhabi, so you can write in a chat box. Before I start, I just give you my a little introduction. I am Muhammad Anwarul Haq have served as a principal and vice principal in one of the leading American curriculum school in UAE, Sharjah. I have plenty of experience related to inspections and related to, school improvement planning. So I thought better I share my ideas and my experiences, expertise with you all. So I hope they will come to some extent for your help. And obviously, if you are aspiring to move forward in your career or you want to improve further for the rating of your school, so inshallah ta'ala this session is going to help you as a leader to improve your teacher and as a teacher to improve your skills. This is really very important. Thank you very much for joining and spending time with me. Before I start, for the school inspection framework, for UAE school inspection framework, the most important thing that everyone has to know, like the language of the framework. If you see the language of UAE inspection framework, we have to be really very critical. Being a leader, this is your responsibility. You should be aware of each and every term which is being used in the framework and what does it mean. These two things are really very important, like what exactly this stands for. Like, for example, there are six levels or there are the six scales which inspection goes on from the ministry. It starts from very weak, acceptable, good, very good, and outstanding. And then the most important thing, once you are looking into your school and into any part of your standard or anything related to admin, related to teaching and learning, these words which are few, majority, large majority, most and almost all. The percentages, please make bear this thing in mind. The percentages are of key importance, please. You have to make sure these percentages which are there, you just keep them in such a way like you should be very much familiar with them. Not only by yourself, you should make your teachers also familiar with these terms. Okay. Now, if I just make this thing very clear for you, like once we are talking about almost all means above 90%, above 90%. And most is from 75% to 90%. These are the two terms that you must keep in mind. And even one more percentage that we have to keep in mind, being a leader. This is the most, these three percentages are of key importance. First one is almost all, which is above 90%. Most, it is ranging from 75 to 90%. and then the large majority, which is moving from 61 to 74%. These two things are of key importance for us, like being a leader. Whenever we are trying to evaluate anything, we have to keep these percentages into our mind. Next thing, if I move to, like, is there any question anyone is having related to this language framework? Because this is the most important thing. Like, whenever as a teacher you will start, as an HOD you will start, as a senior leadership member you will do any kind of task related to school improvement planning or anything related to your task, these language words must be incorporated in the culture of your school, in your institution. So anyone who is having anything, please do ask me in chat box, or directly you can open the mic and you can ask me this part. So if there is no question, so I will be moving next now. Now, if you move from after doing it, look, this is actually for the beginners also, like, because some of the teachers are also part of our this team now. So they should know how exactly they are evaluated by their seniors. Yeah, so if I see here one message in the chat box is there. Let me see this part. Anyway, my name, okay, thank you very much for joining from Fujairah. Uh, uh, Dorka, yes? Thank you very much for joining. Next thing is, we are moving next. This slide is of key importance for you all. Now, once we are talking about this slide, like progress of a school, if you are going to determine. So you already know which rank are you according to the review, previous review, that whether your school was acceptable, it was good, it was rated good, very good, or outstanding. So I would love to see whoever is attending at present. If you are from UAE, what is the ranking of your institution at present? So accordingly, I will suggest you. And one more thing, you can write in the chat box or you can open your mic also. The point that we have to remember, like, there are three key terms. First of all, below curriculum standards. Second, we should know this is in line with the curriculum standards. And the third thing is above the curriculum standards. Now, if I know as a consultant, okay, as a mentor, like if I, for example, I'm providing my services to different institutions in my capacity as a consultant and as a coach. So my first question will come, what exactly is your current situation? Like, normally being a teacher, we call it diagnostic. First of all, you should know what exactly is your current situation. So if someone from our this group, can you just mention, if you are from UAE, what is the actual ranking of your school from the last review report from ministry? If someone can mention, it will be great. For example, if I take any school which has taken the rating good, good means, if your rating is good, good means what? 50 to 60% of the students, which is actually majority of the students, they are performing above the curriculum standards. This is the language you have to just remember. If your school rating is good, so how you will explain this thing in word? 60 to 50 to 60% of the students, they are performing above the curriculum standards in my school. Similarly, if I ask you, if a school is there at very good rating, so what does it mean? 61 to 74 means large majority of the students, they are performing above the curriculum standards. So these two things we must remember like how to give sentences, how to phrase your school. So once you are familiar with the phrasing of your school rating, obviously it becomes very easy for you to go for strategic planning. Now, for strategic planning, like obviously the schools which are and one, by the way, you are, I hope you all are aware of the fact, like if your school is rated acceptable or weak, it will be inspected according to the new rules in inspection. It will be inspected for every year. It will be inspection will be there. But if your school is rated good twice, after 2 years, there will be inspection. And if you are rated very good or outstanding, it is 4 years. So this is the thing, like if you are rated very good or in fact outstanding, so again the new inspection will come after 4 years. So again your strategic planning will remain for 4 years. Those schools who are actually rated acceptable, they have their strategic goal which will be there for, it depends, 1 year. Normally strategic planning happens for 3 to 5 years. Okay, it is a continuous improvement planning. But anyway, this is the thing, how to read your school progress reporting and how you align for your school improvement planning the next step. If you are at the majority, if you are rated good, then you have to aspire for like large majority, which is 61 to 74% of the students in your school, they should score above the curriculum standards. Okay. And one more thing, if you look at this part according to the Bloom taxonomy, this is very interesting. So Bloom taxonomy will come into action as a teacher because today our standard is standard one. So we have to remember it, and it is focusing on a student achievement like attainment, progress, and the skills. So if you are trying to move from a good school to very good school, so once you are crafting your learning objectives, I will come to this point towards the end. So they should be of highest Bloom taxonomy words. Normally we do it. I'll tell you how to create this part. Inshallah Ta'ala, we'll be discussing it later on. So is there any question from anyone? So you can raise the hand. Okay. I'm moving next then. I feel like there is no question. So if I move next, so I hope this thing is really clear how to read your school's level, okay, from your inspection report, review report. Now, the next thing that we have to go, and which is really very important, we are actually now into standards. Standard one. Standard one is actually what it is related to, as I mentioned before, it is related to student achievements. Okay, now I have made this slide. If you can take a picture of this slide, you can take a screenshot of this slide as a leader. It will be really very handy for you whenever you are doing any kind of development in your school or any PD session you are going to run. This slide will give you a lot of help, clarity, not only for you, but for your teachers also. Now, if you see here, what is the pattern of reading? What is the pattern of reading? If you see here, we have to move in this, for this reading, we have to move in different way. Yes, the direction of reading will be from left to right, isn't it? It is very clear. Like always, school, they move in this direction. This is the direction of reading. So as a school leader, you must know where exactly you are standing and what exactly you need to move. So, for example, any one of us, we are acceptable school. Let's suppose. So most of the students, I already told you, most word it is referring to 75 to 90% of the total population or total numbers. Okay. So most of the students, like this is 75 to 90% of the students, they are performing in line with the curriculum standards, according to the expected standards. You get my point? This is the important part. Means 75 to 90% of the students, if they are performing in line with the curriculum standards, so your school is acceptable. Now, if you are planning to move from acceptability to the good rank, so what you have to look for, you have to go for majority of the students. Like now, this number should raise now. It should be between 50 to 60% of the students they should perform above the curriculum standards. Now, this again, I'm mentioning above the curriculum standard, how to judge, how to measure, we'll be having a short activity towards the end. Okay, how to measure it, what exactly does it mean? Okay, now similarly, and one more thing you remember, if you see this slide, it is talking about the standard 1.1.1, and standard 1.1 is related to what? It is related to attainment. And in attainment, there are 4 substandards. If you see here, if you look at this language, please. If you look at this language, dear friend, can you please mute yourself if it is possible? Yeah, if you see here, this is 1.1.1. So this is standard 1, which is related to attainment. Attainment as measured against authorized and licensed curriculum standard. Now, this is really very important. Like being a school, like if, for example, you are a school, American curriculum school, or you are British curriculum school, or you belong to CBSE or FBISE, Pakistani or Indian curriculum schools. So what we need to do, we have to remember how are we going to deal with these things like attainment measured against authorized and licensed curriculum standards. Now, if you look at 1.1.2, this is again related to the attainment, and it is rated. Now, this is very important, like against national and appropriate international standards. We mean to say international benchmark exams. This is like normally if you see in the schools, internal assessment, the students, they perform really very high, but when it comes to international benchmarks like PISA, MAP, PEARLS, okay, all these benchmarks, the result of the student or final exam for the this one British curriculum schools. So there is a gap. So this standard actually help us to evaluate how the attainment of internal assessment is related to the external assessment. Where is the gap? Is there any gap in internal and external assessment? So you figure out which phase we have the problem, you identify that problem, and you try to bring a kind of action plan for that standard, for that weakness. Okay, so obviously majority of you'll be going for the SWOT analysis. Okay, so you have to go for the SWOT analysis. Whenever you come across with a problem, you go for the SWOT test. SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Is a chart. And I hope majority of us who are attending, we are knowing this part. So you just figure out what is the strength of my department or my school, okay, or my as a teacher, and what is the uh, weakness, what are the areas of improvement. Normally the weakness is area of improvement that we have to go for. Similarly, then we go for like what are the areas which we have to focus for, what are the opportunities in this point, what can be good taken from here, and what are the where are the threats from where we can get some kind of other problems. So all these things you can refer to. Anyway, next part, if we go forward, you'll see here the next thing is it is 1.13, which knowledge, skill, understanding, and especially in the before I move to this one, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing now. Look here, rates they remain the same. Okay, the percentages remain the same for the international or external benchmarks. There are no change. Similarly, if you move to the next, now it is 1.13, which is knowledge, skills, and understanding, especially in the key subjects. There are in UAE inspection framework. There are five, technically four, but there are five core subjects. The first one is Islamic education, Arabic, English, math, and science. These are five. Even I think they're the five core subjects. Okay, four core subjects, but they do go for the social studies and other subjects also. They do include. Okay, so here, what is actually your performance in key subject areas? So it depends upon your middle leadership, the HODs in your school, to empower them with this slide that what exactly you want them. Like, for example, if I take one example for very good. If you see here, what is written in lesson and in their recent work, a large majority again refer to 61 to 74, of students demonstrate levels of knowledge and skills and understanding that are above the curriculum standards. So the thing is, if you are crafting this stuff, so you have to formalize these things with your teachers, as well as first of all train your middle leadership team, because they play a pivotal role in some my senior leadership team member use this word dynamo. They are the dynamo of your institution, because they link senior leadership with the teachers. So middle leadership, which are your HODs, they are the most important and pivotal, leaders, which play a vital role between you and the teachers. So you have to give them lot of, skills and authority in order to come up to your expectation. Now, if I move to the next thing, is next is trends in attainment. Now, please remember, trend in attainment always they look for, if you are obviously once we are expecting any inspection. So all schools, the minimum requirement from the ministry or from SPIA or from KHD or EDIC, the minimum requirement is this is mandatory. They have to provide for 3 year data about internal assessments, external benchmarking, and all other related and relevant, factors. So, over 3 years data you have to provide, and this 3 year data it should show some kind of improvement in attainment. So it should show a kind of trend. Progress and all, I will come to this discussion. I hope in next session we'll be discussing about 1.2, which is progress, and 1.3 in the standard, which is the skills. Okay, because we are running short of time. So these are the things that which are related with standard 1.1, which is attainment, and it is further categorized into four substandards or elements, which are 1.1.1 up to 1.1.4. Okay. Now, next thing, if you do, this was the question that I actually asked you before. What does it mean? What do we know? Like, what is above the curriculum standards? So, above the curriculum standard means learners are not only meeting the expected outcome, which is at their curriculum expectation, but are exceeding them, showing deeper understanding, high level of application, and advanced performance. Example, since I belong to American curriculum school, so you just remember in American curriculum school, if a grade 6 student is expected by the CCSS standard, Common Core standard that normally we use, or for science we use NGSS, to write structured essay, then above expectation might mean, now there are different scenario now, write with more sophisticated vocabulary and style, demonstrate critical thinking and original ideas, apply knowledge in real world, and perform at level expected of higher grades. For example, student is at level 6 and he is giving you a draft which is comparable to level 7, next level. Okay, so in this way, above the curriculum standard, we must know we have to always keep ourselves and our students challenging. We keep on challenging them with the critical thinking, innovation, research, all these 21st century skills which are very much required by all learners because normally now even this word student is also obsolete now. We use the word learners. So we have to empower the learners with these skills. Now, if I go to one slide which is very close to my heart. Now, once we are crafting a learning objective, this always please, once you are drafting your learning objective, there should be one or maximum two learning objectives. They cannot be more than two because if you increase the learning objectives, you cannot achieve them. So better you draft your learning objective in such a way like you can easily achieve them. Okay, you can easily achieve them. Now, for example, if we go a step further, now explain and analyze. So this learning objective is for a school who is moving from good to very good or outstanding. The learning objective should be phrased in this way. But if a school is at present acceptable and moving to good, then this learning objective can be phrased, defined, and explained. So according to the Bloom taxonomy, you have to phrase your learning objective. And it should be catering all three levels. Similarly, if you see here, create innovative ideas to explain the correlation. Creation is the last, highest level of Bloom taxonomy, highest level of learning. Everyone knows, like plan, investigate, all these words, research, design, these words, they are at the highest level of Bloom taxonomy and they should be part of your learning objective. Learning objective creation, this is a skill and it develops with the passage of time. It is, we struggle in our school with this thing. So I hope if you try this thing at your school, so maybe in the beginning you will struggle, but in the later on, you will get benefit of this, inshallah. Is there any other thing that you want to ask related to anything we discussed by now? Anyone? You can raise your hand if you want to ask. Okay. If there is no question, so I take it like everything is clear and we move next. Now, if we move next, the thing is, I have a small activity. If you can do it, okay, for teacher improvement or as an admin if you want to improve on. Okay, so this is the activity. I will be sharing one link in chat box. Okay, either you can use this QR code and you can join directly, or you can use this link with me and you can just join this activity. Uh, this is the link for the Padlet and a short activity we can create. Link is shared, so you can use. Let me see how many of you can join. Yeah, this is, I'm giving you a little bit time. So you just use this link or use the QR code. So there are two things which I have displayed. As now I'm talking about, once we are crafting the learning objective, then as a teacher, we should be having our success criteria. So success, so once we are creating success criteria, we have to be really master at this. Okay. Now, once you are for success criteria, you can cater all the three levels of differentiation. Most of the students, like most of the students, if they are they achieve. It's mean and being a teacher and being a middle leader. This is really very important for you and for your teachers to know how my lesson is assessed. So again, if I go back to the same slide, if I go back to the same slide, how my lesson is assessed. So how you'll be assessed. So if you want your lesson to be rated acceptable, or you can say it is rated to be good. First of all, you have to make sure 75 to 90% of the students, they must perform in line with the curriculum, your first learning objective. Like, for example, you drafted your learning objective, define and explain. So definition, 75 to 90% of the student, mean most of the student, they should be able to define. If you have achieved this thing, you have shown the inspector that I have achieved this part, it means your lesson is acceptable now. If you go to the next level, which is analyze, interpret, explain and all, if majority of the student they can achieve that part, then what will happen, your students, your class will be rated, which is above the standard, by the way, it will be rated good. Now please, again, you remember, first of all, you have to achieve acceptable level. Second, you have to ensure the majority, the good level, which is 50 to 60% of the student, they are scoring above. And if you enhance this thing to 60 to 74%, it's mean your lesson is very good. Or if you are moving from 75 to 90%, so it is outstanding. So this is the way of carrying out your lesson. Anyway, since we are running with the last minute, unfortunately, because this Zoom session will be only for 40 minutes instead of 1 hour. So, inshallah, next session I will continue from here, and I really appreciate your participation, and thank you very much for giving me time. And I will look forward for your feedback on LinkedIn if you are my connection there in the LinkedIn. Okay. And one more thing, like I will be sharing this part, like